Hey, I'm Jason Creel and this is the Lawn Care Life. I had two customers this week want to take me back. Okay, I was their lawn care provider and for whatever reason didn't work out. I can go in and I'm going to tell you the stories behind both of them. And both of them called me this week, wanted to restart, wanted to get back going on the program, and neither one of them did it work out on. I'm going to explain to you why it didn't work out, tell you the story behind both these individuals. Hopefully you can apply it to your business. Let's get started right now. All right, so two individuals here, and one of them I had for years, and quite a number of years, and he comes from a different culture. Now, I'm not going to say which culture, but a very strong negotiating culture. Let's just say that. And he loved to, he would pay up front for the year, but and I give a 5% discount for those paying up front, but he wanted more. He's, I'm your best customer, I need a bigger discount. Oh, that's too much, I don't want to pay that much. And it was a little bit of a pain getting the money from him. Because, like I said, there was a little cultural barrier. His English was fine, but some of his relatives don't have great English, and he would leave the money with them, and I'd have to go by there and get it. And it was a difficult situation. Well, one relative that lives there at the house, my actual customer, he's gone working during the day, but his relative is there, and I think speaks no English. And when I say no English, I mean maybe says hello and yes and no, and that might be it. I don't know if I ever heard an English word come out. Okay, so I don't know if he's nice or mean or whatever. I don't know. What I know is this particular yard stays wet. It has some drainage issues, and that causes some weeds. A particular weed in this yard is called Kalinga. It likes wet areas in the summer. This yard was just loaded with Kalinga. Now there's some things you can do to treat Kalinga, but it is a difficult weed to get rid of. Well, when I would go treat this yard, the elderly relative would come out and begin speaking in his language, which I had no idea what he was saying. I can speak a little, a little Spanish, a little other things, but not. I mean, this is a different one. So I don't tell you what language it is because that'd tell you where they're from, and I'm not trying to create false stereotypes about any culture here. But he would sit there and point and going on and on, knowing I can't understand him, and I don't. Sometimes I might have said something to him, but I know he can't understand me. But he's pointing at the weeds, and I'm walking around spraying the weed. I'm like, I'm spraying now. I can't explain to him anything about this weed. I can't explain how difficult this weed is to get rid of. I can't explain about the drainage problems in your yard and why your yard's wet and why you can't get rid of it. So I just sit there and let him talk, and he may be telling me I'm greater, but I don't think he was. Well, this is almost every single time he comes. Well, one time, my customer who speaks English, he called me, and I was like, listen, your relative, almost every time I come, he comes out there and he starts blah, 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 blah about the yard. And I said, anyway, I don't know, that's not great, okay? Well, last year, it comes time to renew. Like I say, he pays for the year almost every single time. He didn't renew for the year, and which is fine with me. I was like, good, I don't want to deal with that. And I went up on him the year before. I felt like it was still low, and every time it was just poor mouthing me about the price, and oh, that's so much, So I was glad. I was like, good, he's not renewing, he's going to do it on his own. Okay, well, year goes by, and I still do the next door neighbor, by the way. Year goes by, I guess they did on their own. I never see another lawn company. Well, this year he calls me. He said, hey, we want to start back. Okay, so maybe it didn't go so well. Maybe that weed wasn't quite so easy to get rid of as he thought he could do it himself. Matter of fact, I feel like I remember him out there pushing a little push spreader, putting something on the yard. But anyway, they called me back, want to start this year. I say, well, his price was, I think it used to be 60, and I might have went up to 62 one time or something. Well, I told him this year, $70, okay, because I went up 7% on a lot of my customers, but I'm thinking, if I'm going to have to sit there and listen to somebody ream me out in a foreign language every single time I come, it's going up to $70, which on his yard is really not outrageous. I mean, but so I told him $70 prepaid for the year. So it's 7 applications a year. He's like 70 times 7. He's like $500. Well, it's $490. He's like, yeah, basically $500. He's like, let me check with my relative, the one who always is let me know about my performance. He said, I'll get back to you. Well, it's been several days, hadn't heard back from him, which is good. In my mind, in that situation, I've always treated him with respect. I don't want to run him off, don't want to, talk ugly to him, but hey, listen, the terms are switched into my favor now. You want to come back to me, fine. The price is more, and it's prepaid, and there's no 5% discount, and you take it or leave it. Now, I said it in a very nice way, but I think that him being a very negotiator type, the fact I went from $62 to $70, he didn't want to do it, and that's absolutely fine with me. Lesson be learned there. Challenging customer, go up on them. Go up on them and put them in your terms. If the pay is difficult, and make them prepay a credit card on file, and here's the terms. You pay this price, prepaid or card on file, and that's it. And that's how I'm doing it. If that don't work out, we're not doing it. All right, that was first story. Second story is similar in some ways, but it was a customer I'd only had for a year. Yard looked great, not any serious weed problems. But I had a couple of situations last year that were a little frustrating for me. And I don't know, something about being in the weed control and fertilization side of the business versus mowing. When I was mowing grass, I rarely got any complaints. I mean, unless we like accidentally tore something up, ran into the fence or did, you're gonna get a complaint on that. But as far as the cutting the grass, I mean, you don't get that many complaints. Weed control, I tell people, you got to have a little thicker skin. You do get some complaints because it's almost virtually impossible to keep all weeds out of a lawn. And if you got hundreds of lawns, it's there's going to be some weeds. It just is. And then you got the people factor. Some people complain even when it's nearly perfect, and others think it's great when it looks terrible. So I mean, it's just so you're going to have a few complainers. That's kind of the way it is. Well, this particular customer, a few things that became a little bit rocky from the start. So I don't typically notify customers unless they ask me to. So some of them will say, I need you to let me know when you're coming so that I can unlock the gate for you so I can put the dog up. And that's fine. I'll do that. But in general, I don't notify them unless they ask me to. But I put a sign in their yard and all that so they know I've been there. Well, he wants to pay with cash. He wants to pay with cash and stick it under a flower pot. I don't like cash under a flower pot. Okay, I've got cash in the gas grill, cash in the hose reel, cash under the doormat. I'm trying to get away from all that. And matter of fact, as of today, I don't think I have a single person leaving cash laying around I got to go hunt and find. And some of you may say, oh, that's great, you got cash and all that. I actually claim the cash on his income and report on my taxes. And I didn't want the nightmare of having to go chase it and you get under the doormat and it's wet and all this other stuff. I just pay me, okay? I don't want, just pay with a credit card, whatever, just pay it. Well, so that's one issue. And then last year, again, first time with the yard, and one particular time, he has an area on a slope. Bermuda grass is not getting full sun on this area that's on a slope, and it's real rocky soil, and he has a bare spot. And so he calls me, kind of gives me a lecture on, hey, I'm paying you. I need you to let me know when you see something like this in the yard, what I'm supposed to do to fix it. And we have this long conversation, and I'm like, well, I see yards all the time that what I'm thinking, I don't know what I said to him, but I'm like, I see yards all the time that have all kind of problems. I mean, yeah. If I went around and noted everything that needed to be fixed on every yard and sent them an email and said, next time I think you could put in a French drain over here, and I think you need to freshen up your pine straw, and your shrubs look like they need to trim. And I saw a couple of mosquitoes flying around. You might want to think about signing up for mosquito service. I'm not going to do all that. So you have, basically a great looking yard, and you have an area over here that's on a slope with very rocky soil where the grass not growing great. Of course it's not growing great. You don't need a lawn guy to tell you that. But I think he tells me, I was like, well, you know what, if you want to bring in some topsoil and put you some zoysia down over there that's more shade time, that's fine. If the customer wants to ask me about it, fine. But I'm not going to go around making notes about all that. So anyway, I got lectured on that. Okay. Another time, he leaves the money and it wasn't correct change. So then I got to go in there and I'm not carrying around a bunch of cash on me where I can leave the right change. But this particular time, it's like maybe it was $64. He left 70. So he leaves it under the flower pot. I think I put $6. I had it on me, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I hate doing this. But I left $6 and stuck it in his door or something like that. I don't remember. Well, I got lectured on that. Okay, you left $6 in my door. You could give a thief a reason to come by my house and blah blah blah. And I said, oh man, well, just if you pay like all the rest of the grown-ups, then I won't have to worry about leaving $6 in the door. But I said, I don't think anybody in this neighborhood's going to come break in your house over $6 stuck in the door that they probably didn't know was there or whatever. But again, maybe it wasn't the greatest decision on me. So point being, and then the other thing was he got ready to do one treatment, and I'm having to always text him when I'm coming so he can leave the cash under the flower pot, and he texts back and he says, oh, just skip this one. I said, okay, I ain't into skip this one kind of stuff. Okay, so there's 3 strikes. Okay, you ream me out about not telling you everything I see, and then the cash system is terrible, and then you want to skip on some treatment. So it gets toward the end of the year, and I'm doing my renewals for the next year, and I text him. I said, hey, I told him the last time on the whole, when he said, got on me about leaving $6, I said, I'll tell you what, would not do any more cash under the mat. I said, you're going to pay like everybody else with a credit card on file, or pay with a credit. I'm not doing it. So that's going to fix all your cash problems. You pay like everybody else pays, So anyway, it gets to the winter time, doing a renewal. I text him, hey, we're doing credit card on file or prepaid for the year with a 5% discount. No reply. Okay, no reply at all. I think I reached out to him multiple times. At one point, I remember actually texting him saying, after I didn't hear back from him, I said, hey, I think it'd be best for us just to move on. You get a new provider for next year. And I'm thinking that's probably, I literally took him out of my software. I took him off my schedule. In my mind, I'm done with him. He hadn't replied. I gave him an offer. I get a call the other day from him, and he wants to start the service back. Calls me like 8-something at night on a weeknight. And I thought, oh man, he won't start back. I thought, I'd already sent a text and said, I think it'd be best for us to move on. But when he called, I was like, okay, I said, that's fine. And so I told him, I said, price has gone up since last year. I said, I had to look up what you were being charged last year. It's going to be a 7% increase for this year. I said, it's credit card on file or prepay for the year with a 5% discount. And he started thinking through it. He said, okay, I can do card on file. And I looked up his price from last year and come up with a new price. I think it was $67. It went up to $72 or something. I said $72, and it's going to be card on file. He said, I think I do card on file. He said, let me get back with you. Well, that night and the next morning, I got to thinking about it, and I started getting a bad feeling. I said, you know what? I think this is going to be a situation where on him, I would probably charge his card before I go to his house to make sure it runs through. Because if it doesn't go through, I just don't want the hassle. And maybe you could do that with all your customers, but I just didn't want the hassle of that. And the more I thought about it, I was just like, it's not that he wouldn't pay. He's always paid. Okay, he's always paid. I think he's probably an honorable guy. I don't want to get lectured on something else, where I didn't do something right, or I didn't, and then he skipped on me, and then, even if I fixed the payment issue, no cash under the pot, I didn't necessarily fix the issue of him calling me out on something that, that I didn't do right or didn't, and I'm not opposed to some constructive criticism, but it's just kind of the way it goes about, just the tone of which I was being lectured on. So after giving some thought and not hearing back from him on into the next day, I texted him. I said, hey, after giving some thought, I think it'd probably be best for us just to separate and let you move forward with another provider this year. And he texts back and says, oh, and I put in there something about, it seemed like last year might have been frustrating for both of us. So I knew I was frustrated, and he seemed frustrated when he talked to me. He texted back, he said, I wasn't frustrated last year, and he said, but if that's what you want to do, if you want to move on, then that's fine, So I texted him, I said, yeah, I think, honestly, I believe I'd be more comfortable moving on. And he gave a very polite response, and I said, I have no problem with him as a human at all, shake his hand, and if I see him in public, okay? And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure I'd recognize him because I don't know if he's one I ever actually met in person or not. But as far as a business goes, I don't want any customer like that I lose sleep over, okay? And some of them do. They say stuff that just bothers me, and I hate to admit it, but I've lost sleep over situations where I just say it just gets to me. And so I'm kind of moving away from those. And I tell you what, I don't regret it at all. It's been going great. I've got great customers, and the ones that are difficult we usually separate pretty quickly. And I've got, I don't know, 300 something customers now, low 300s, and my schedule allows me some flexibility. I've got a tight route. I think it's very profitable, and I've got a lot of great customers. And what I don't want, and I remember this from probably 12 years ago, we had this lady, and I could never please her. I mean, and we were mowing grass, and we would go, and there was almost every single time we pulled up, there'd be a full page 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on the door with everything we did wrong the time before. And we were going way out of our way to try to make her happy, and ended up she cheated us out of some money at the end, or it was my mistake. I think she was on paying year round or something, and she canceled right at the fall when we would have been getting paid in the winter for not doing as much work and that sort of thing. That was my mistake for structuring it that way, and I would advise you not to do that. But you couldn't make her happy. And what I'm saying is, it took the morale out of me. I had some employees at the time, and it just took the morale out of the crew. I mean, we just didn't want to go there because it was just like, no, this is not what it did. And we were so happy when we got done, we'd actually get the letters and just laugh at it. I just can't believe she complained about this. I don't want a customer taking my morale down. I'm working solo, but I tell you, one of them gets to me and starts in my head and telling me this and that and the other. I just don't want it. And whatever, 70 bucks or 40 bucks or 100 bucks, or it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. I can go get another customer, okay? And they're calling me every day. I mean, just about every single day in the spring, I'm getting calls. And so I was like, why would I deal with this customer when I could have a great customer? And again, nothing about them as a person. It could be a great person, just not an ideal fit for my lawn care business. Probably just about my #1 rule in lawn care: take control of your business and keep control. Don't let the customers have control. You determine how it's paid. You determine the schedule. That doesn't mean that you're not good at customer service. You can provide customer service, but you got to keep control of it, or it's not going to be enjoyable unless you just like being bossed around by hundreds of people. I don't. I mean, most people struggle with one boss. Can you imagine letting all your customers boss you around? To me, that's a terrible idea. Keep control, and I think you'll find it more enjoyable. And you say, thank you for your suggestion on how I should run my business, but this is how I do run it, and it works great for most of our customers. And if they're not a fit, that's fine. They're not a fit. Let me hear from you in the comments. I'm Jason Creel. If you want to get into weed control and fertilization, or mowing, or mosquito spraying, I've got resources for all that at lawncarelife.com. You can check those out, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and you can click on my channel name there. There's 800 something videos lawn care related, or click subscribe and then the notification bell. That will tell YouTube to let you know when I create new content. I'm also doing some live streaming. I've been doing was doing on Monday nights. I'm going to start doing that back, maybe weekly or bi-weekly. I'm not sure. I want to find a consistent time. I'm not sure it's going to be Monday night because we have a lot of stuff going on. But one evening where sometimes it's me taking Q&A from the audience. Sometimes I bring on a guest. So if you're enjoying that, you can actually go to my channel and see some past replays from those that we've done. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.